I know it's been a little while since I've done a YouTube video. I've been doing a lot of stuff at work and some personal stuff and everything. So it's like I say, it's been a while since I've done a video for YouTube. Um, but yeah, like I said, I know I don't have very many subscribers, and like I said again, I do this for fun anyway. So it is what it is. Anywho, the reason I am doing a video today, I am doing a little mini review of the Atari Flashback Portable. I know everybody and their brother's been doing videos on this lately, and yeah, so kind of jumping on the bandwagon here. But okay, so what the Atari Flashback Portable, what it is? Okay, um, AtGames has for the last several years they've made the Atari Flashback that a lot of you might be familiar with. It's essentially a quote unquote clone console where it has a bunch of old classic Atari 2600 games built right into it. AtGames has also done flashbacks for the ColecoVision, the Intellivision, and the Sega Genesis, which, by the way, don't buy. The sound emulation on the Genesis flashback is complete garbage. And even though it does have a cartridge port and everything, so you can actually run Sega Genesis cartridges on it, not every game works on it. So the Genesis one, avoid it like the plague. But today we're talking about the Atari Flashback Portable, and like I said, it's literally this is all the big it is, and essentially it is a portable Atari 2600 with 60 games built into it, and then it also has SD card support, so you can load up a bunch of Atari 2600 ROMs and actually run them on here as well. So it also does emulation, which is nice. Because of course some of the more well-known 2600 games didn't make the cut for this thing, probably because whether they didn't have the licensing rights or whatnot. So unfortunately, built in, you don't get Space Invaders, you don't get Pac-Man. I mean, you do get a lot of the gems though. I mean, you do get Centipede, you get Millipede, Missile Command, Warlords, Video Pinball, one of my personal favorites. Um, Bowling, another one of my all-time favorites. Adventure. Um, so you do. There are a lot of good games on there, but again, you don't have all the classics on there. None of the Activision stuff is built in there, so no Pitfall, no Kaboom, no Enduro, none of that good stuff. But that's the beauty part. That's where the SD card comes in. You could load those ROMs onto an SD card, pop them in here, and like I said, and you are good to go. And just to give you an idea of just size wise, comparing the size. This is the original Nintendo 3DS, and again, like I said, as you can see, about the same size. It's a little bit longer and not quite as thick as the 3DS. You can see here for comparison's sake, and then kind of compare it to like the DSi XL, which is massive. And you can see here. I mean, you can see a huge difference in size. Yeah. Or if you really want to, for sake of argument, in terms of something that is say in terms of size, the Flashback Portable with the Sega Game Gear. I mean, you can see the Game Gear is freaking massive. I mean, as a lot of you all well know. And then, just for comparison's sake, the original Game Boy Advance. So, like I said, and so I will say this. So, like I said, so it has a rechargeable battery, and it just charges via micro USB cable that comes with it. But be warned, it doesn't have a little USB charging brick that you can plug into the wall. It doesn't come with one of those, but any one will work. So if whatever one you're using for like to charge a phone or your let's say or your tablet or something like that, or whatever, say if it's USB, you can just plug it in. Not a problem, not a big deal. At this point, whatever, most of us have at least one USB charging brick in the house, so you don't have to worry about that. But the screen is very bright, it's very vibrant, as you can see. And like I said, again, like I said, number of games built right into it. Like I said, and truth be told, it plays great. It plays. They say the controls are actually very responsive. Everything. The little D-pad for it is very responsive. And then of course, you have your select button, your reset button, your TV type button, whatever. So for color, black and white, and then of course with some games like Star Master, whatever, like I said, the color, black and white switch on the old 2600 brought up your map and everything. So all the necessary functions there. Not to mention it does include a pause button, which is nice. Considering 2600 games didn't have that luxury. So like I said, that is a nice little inclusion. Um, Now I will say this and everything in terms of putting games on the SD card and emulating. The emulation is not the best. Now some games work just fine. You have no issues at all. Other games you're gonna have a little bit of graphical glitching, but there's games for all intents and purposes are playable. I know Qbert has some graphical glitching, but it's not game breaking. Midnight Magic is another one. Again, it has some graphical glitching, but it's not game breaking. Um, Now, one of the ones that did disappoint me is Enduro. Again, that was one of my favorite 2600 games growing up and everything. And Enduro, while it runs and it runs great, the biggest problem is the bottom of the screen is cut off and everything, so you can't see how many cars you still have left to pass and everything, and what day you're on. Which, again, so you have no way of really keeping track of your progress. But the game does run, and it does run well. So you are good there. Then of course, there are other games like one of my personal favorites and everything is the homebrew gem Halo 2600. The game for the most part is completely broken. It's a mess to try and play on the Atari Flashback Portable. I don't recommend it. Play it on Stella, or if you want to buy a physical copy from Atari Age, I'd recommend you do so that way and play it. Try to play it on the Atari Flashback Portable. It's a mess. Of course, my biggest grievance with the Atari Flashback Portable is the sound emulation. The sound emulation, it sounds a bit low. And what I mean by that is, like I said, like the pitch is low. It almost the audio almost sounds like maybe like a half step to a step lower than it should be. For some games, again, it's not a big deal. For other games, especially games that do have music and everything, it can be a little hard on the ears. I have heard of some people having some issues with their the audio on their Flashback Portable buzzing. I thankfully don't have that issue with mine, but I have heard some people mention they had issues with that. But all in all, though, I mean, when you think about how far technology has come, especially when you figure, we're looking at the 40th anniversary of the Atari 2600, and you think about how far technology has come in 40 years, to basically have a portable unit where you can basically have the entire 2600 library on a full color screen, in the palm of your hand, that you can take anywhere with you. Back in the late 1970s, nobody would have ever imagined something like this. This was the work of science fiction. And so for the cost of what it would cost for one 2600 game back in the late 70s, early 80s, I mean, because these things you can buy one you can buy, like I say, anywhere like AtGames stuff is sold. I usually find them either at Toys R Us or Bed Bath & Beyond, of all places. That's usually where I find them. I mean, other retailers carry them too, like your Dollar Generals, your Family Dollar, stuff like that. You'll see some of these units there as well. But the best place I have found to find one of these so far has been Bed Bath & Beyond. As I know, Bed Bath & Beyond also carries the current version of the Genesis Flashback, and my local Bed Bath & Beyond, while they have stock of the current Atari Flashback 7, they also have the 5 and the 6 on hand as well. So if you want one of the older models, you can get those too. But these are $40. $40. And you can basically have the entire 2600 library in the palm of your hand. It's amazing. It's incredible. I mean, all in all, I mean, like I said again, I mean, the screen is very vibrant. Like I said, the controls are very responsive. I mean, if you're an Atari 2600 fan, this is worth the money. I can honestly say that this is worth the money, and I would strongly suggest that any Atari 2600 fan and everything, especially if you travel a lot for business or something like that, or even if you're on a long road trip and everything, and you're not the one driving, whatever, you just want to sit back and chill in the car. This is a great time killer. Like I said, the battery life on it is actually very good. It's like I said, it's actually a very, very, very well put together product. Like I said, the only thing that again that hurts it, in my opinion, is some of the emulation being flawed when running it off the SD card, and again the sound emulation are the only real flaws. But again, a large number of the games and everything work just fine and everything, from the SD card. I mean, I know over on Atari Age, they're keeping a kind of a spreadsheet and everything right now of all the games that work perfectly, and then the games that don't work at all, and the games that work some. And of course, some 2600 games you're not going to be able to play because you need certain peripherals and everything. You'll need, like, the games that require the keyboard controller. Those you're not going to be able to play. Anything that's 2-player only, like Combat or Outlaw, you're not going to be able to play on here and everything, because again, there's no way to hook up like a second controller or anything else like that or whatever. So those games are useless. Now, the beauty part is paddle games do work with this D-pad. So you can still play Breakout and Kaboom. You can play Warlords, which, again, if you ever get a chance, I highly recommend get people together for a 4-player game of Warlords. It is the shit. So, like I said, at least the paddle games work. I haven't really had a chance to experiment with it. I want to try playing Indy 500, see if driving controller games work, because I do know there are some ROMs out there and everything, it's like homebrews, stuff like that for games that use the driving controller besides Indy 500. So I do want to experiment to see if the driving controller, if it's compatible with the driving controller as well. But if the game uses a joystick or a paddle, it'll run on here. So all in all, I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give the Atari Flashback Portable probably a 7.5 to an 8. Again, like I said, some of the flaws with the emulation and everything, and the sound emulation and everything are the two biggest flaws to it, in my opinion. And to some people, that may not exactly be a big deal. So, all in all, again, if you're a 2600 fan, I highly recommend picking up the Atari Flashback Portable. I really love this device and everything. I keep it in my pocket and everything, and like I said, I'll sit at work on my lunch break, whatever, and play some games, whatever, on my lunch break, just to kill time. Because again, a lot of these games, they're just a whole hell of a lot of fun to play. So that's my thoughts on the Atari Flashback Portable. Again, I hope this was helpful. I hope it was informative. Again, I know everybody and their brother's been doing Atari Flashback Portable videos lately, and they're doing reviews and everything on them. So I just wanted to put my opinion out there as well. Like I said, I do. I really think it is a worthwhile portable unit. Like I said, again, with the fact that you can put the entire 2600 library on here, and then some, because there are hundreds of ROM hacks and homebrews out there. There's no shortage of stuff you'd be able to play and everything, and that's it. You don't have to worry about carrying around extra cartridges or that. It's all in the unit. Where could you go wrong? So all in all, like I said, $40 well spent. Like I said, again, I know people are selling them on eBay as well. I know AtGames, their website, they were selling them as well. Last time I looked, they were out of stock of them, but they might be getting some more in soon, whatever. You don't have a Bed Bath & Beyond nearby. But all in all, this is worth it. and I would highly recommend buying one of these. So, anyway, that wraps up this video and everything. You guys have yourself a good one. I will try not to be a stranger here, and and work on doing some more videos here in the near future. I'm experimenting with some different things and everything. Trying to find ways again, because I don't want to invest like hundreds and thousands of dollars into like high end like recording equipment and everything, because again, this is just something I do as a hobby. I'm not trying to monetize. I'm not trying to make YouTube my career and everything. I just do this for fun, just to talk about the things that I want to talk about. So, but I have been experimenting with a few things and everything. So hopefully, um, I'll start putting up videos a little bit more frequently. So, anywho, that's going to wrap up this video. I will see you all next time. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you later.